Hello, fellow crafters. My name is Katerina, and I am the founder of Fancy Yarns Australia. This is our 9th episode in our series on how to choose the right yarn for your next project. In this episode, we're diving into the world of online yarn shopping, a magical place full of colour, texture, and temptation, but also a place that can be a little overwhelming and risky if you're not sure what to look for. Whether you're a seasoned yarn shopper or it's your first time buying online, today we'll walk you through everything you need to know to make confident, informed decisions. We'll cover how to read a listing properly, tips for interpreting colours and textures, how to choose the right yarn for your project without squishing at first, tragic, I know, and how to avoid the dreaded, not what I expected moment when your yarn arrives. Let's dive in. Before you even click add to cart, it's important to know what kind of project you're shopping for. Are you making a garment, accessory, or homeware? Do you have a specific pattern in mind? Are you substituting yarn? Is it a gift or something for you? If you're following a pattern, it's super important to check the recommended yarn first. Fiber content, weight, meterage, and suggested gauge. This gives you a solid starting point when browsing online. If you're not shopping for a specific project and are just buying pretty yarn, yep, we see you, no judgment here. Be prepared to work backwards with your purchase. What we mean by this is to take into consideration the meterage you have purchased and to use that knowledge to then pick your pattern, as opposed to picking your pattern first. This is actually the way we prefer planning out our projects at Fancy Yarns. Both ways are great ways to shop. Neither way is better than the other. It's just about being prepared to adapt how you plan to how you shop. When it comes to the listing itself, every online yarn listing should tell you the essentials. Fiber content. Is it 100% wool, a bamboo blend, recycled denim? This helps you gauge softness, stretch, drape, and care instructions. Weight. Look for whether it's lace, fingering, DK, worsted. Compare it with your project needs. Meterage per skein. This is essential for calculating how much to order. Recommended hook or needle size. This is helpful for estimating gauge. Care instructions. Can it be machine washed or is it hand wash only? Listings might also include the following. Origin. Some yarns list country of origin or even the sheep breed. Certifications. Look for GOTS, OEKO Tax, or other eco certifications if this is something that is important to your yarn crafting experience. Recommended uses. Some businesses might also include information on what projects the yarn will suit. This is a great way to work out if it might be the right yarn for your next project. Most listings will also include photos. This is a really important moment to point out that screens lie. Every device displays color slightly differently, so what looks like mustard on your phone might look lime on your laptop. Lighting also affects appearance. Photos taken in daylight show true colour best. Having a yarn store ourselves, we know how important it is to represent the colour properly, but we also know that different devices can be deceiving. While we do our best to ensure correct colour representation, individual device settings can impact how the photos show up. If you're concerned or need clarification, don't feel like you have to go through it alone. When in doubt, reach out. Email or message the store and ask for more photos or help with color matching. You can also use sites that rely on user-generated content, such as social media or Ravelry, to see how others have photographed their finished pieces and how the color shows up in their work. Again, remember to be mindful that lighting can play a significant role in color representation on devices. Once you've selected your color, our next tip is to ensure you're ordering the right quantity. There is nothing worse than running out of yarn halfway through a project and then discovering your colorway is out of stock. Here's how to get it right. Know your meterage needs. Most patterns will tell you. Divide total meterage by the skein or ball meterage to figure out how many you need. For example, if you need 1,000 meters and each ball is 200, you will need 5 balls for your project, although we'd recommend 6 to be on the safe side. Which leads us to our next point, add a little extra. Especially with hand-dyed yarns where dye lots can vary, having more is a safer option than not having enough. One of our favorite things to do with leftover yarn is to make matching accessories such as a small purse or a hair scrunchie or a pair of earrings. We always get compliments on this when we match them with our handmade garments. Where you can, buy from the same dye lot. Most online stores will ship matching dye lots. However, if you're worried they might not, ensure you ask. At Fancy Yarns, we always make a point to contact our customers if we cannot fulfill an order from the same dye lot. But this really only happens with yarn when it's on clearance. Think about your yarn in projects. Even if you're just stash building, try to think, what can I make with 2 of these? That way you don't end up with a million single skeins, guilty, having a knowledge of how much you need for different types of projects helps immensely. For example, you might know that a standard tank top in a 4-ply will require at least 2 skeins, or a standard jumper in an 8-ply will require at least 6 skeins. This helps if you don't have a specific project in mind, but you do have a general idea of what you would like to make with that yarn. One of the most common questions we get asked at Fancy Yarns Australia is about the texture of our alternative yarns. Whether it's about our eucalyptus fibre, sugarcane fibre, seaweed fibre, or banana fibre, we know questions like this are super important when it comes to feeling confident shopping online. We do our best to tell you about these yarns in the description, but if you're still finding it difficult to imagine what the yarn will feel like and how it will work up, please feel free to ask. We're always happy to provide even more in-depth information about our different fibres. If possible, we will sometimes even send a small sample for you. We hate that we have to talk about it, but we know how prevalent it is. When shopping online, be scam aware. Get to know the business. Do they have a social media presence in which they introduce team members? Do they create videos? Is there evidence of them engaging with the local community? Do they have any user-generated content? Have others bought from them before and tagged them in posts? Do they post and tag other legitimate customers and businesses? Do they have a mailing list which produces legitimate and engaging content? Are they a registered business? For Australian businesses, you can look them up on the Australian Business Registry to ensure they are legitimate and have an Australian business number or ABN. You can also find out more information by reading about shipping speed, packaging, and return exchange policies. One of our best tips is to follow your favorite yarn shops on social media. You'll often see sneak peeks, restock alerts, and customer makes that help you shop smarter. If you're in Australia, shopping with local stores means faster delivery, no custom surprises, and supporting small Australian businesses, obviously, and a lower carbon footprint. Also, customer service is usually easier when you're in the same time zone. If you're overseas shopping with an Australian store, check for shipping rates, currency conversion, and return options. And don't forget to look for free shipping thresholds. At Fancy Yarns Australia, we offer free shipping Australia-wide for orders over $100 and to New Zealand for orders over $250. One of the biggest perks of shopping small is that you're not dealing with a chatbot on the internet or a logistics person in a warehouse who isn't familiar with yarn. You're talking to actual humans who love yarn and want to help. If you're not sure what to buy, send a message. Ask about color comparisons, fiber feel, project suggestions. We love it when you send us those messages. In fact, we will jump at the opportunity to give you a call and chat about your next project or anything else yarn related or anything else not yarn related. We love a good chat. And yes, we will help you pick a yarn based on a Pinterest post or a vague photo. That's what we're here for. So there you have it, your go-to guide for online yarn shopping that's stress-free, inspiring, and packed with intention. Next time you're browsing the digital yarn shelves, keep these tips in mind and shop with clarity and confidence. And don't forget, if you ever need help, we're just a message away. If you found this episode helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Fancy Yarns Australia YouTube channel for more crafting wisdom. Don't forget to follow us on social media. You can also subscribe to our newsletter on our website at www.fancyyarns.com.au. In our next episode, we're discussing our troubleshooting tips and tricks when it comes to choosing the right yarn for your next project. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.